She looked at me, smiled in that polite but dismissive way, and said, "You're too young to compete." The room went quiet for a second. I could feel eyes on me, some amused, some pitying. My cheeks burned, but I didn't look down. I smiled back and said, "That's what gives me the advantage." She laughed, but what happened next wasn't just about competition. It was about kindness and how the smallest act can change everything. Before we jump into the story, take a quick second to subscribe to your channel name, like this video, and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Your support helps us share more powerful stories like this stories that remind us how much kindness still matters. Now let me tell you what really happened. I was 23 years old, fresh out of college in Ohio, with a degree that still felt like it belonged in a frame more than in the real world. I had just started working at a mid-sized marketing firm in Chicago. It was my first real job, my first real paycheck, my first real chance to prove I wasn't just potential. The company announced an internal competition. Whoever pitched the best community outreach campaign would lead a major project tied to a national nonprofit. It wasn't just about recognition. It meant a promotion, a raise, and a seat at the leadership table. For me, it meant everything. For most people in the office, though, it meant something else. A battle between the experienced senior staff. That's where she came in. Her name was Denise. She was in her early 40s, sharp, confident, and known for winning. She had been at the company for over a decade. People respected her. Some feared her. She wore her experience like armor. The day we signed up to compete, she glanced at the list, saw my name, and raised an eyebrow. "You're competing?" she asked, almost amused. "Yes," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She chuckled. "You're too young to compete." That's when I gave her my line. That's what gives me the advantage. The truth? I wasn't nearly as confident as I sounded. That night, I sat in my tiny apartment, staring at a blank document on my laptop. I felt small. I kept replaying her words in my head. Too young, too inexperienced, not ready. But something inside me refused to quit. Instead of trying to outshine Denise with flashy graphics or corporate buzzwords, I decided to focus on something simple: kindness. The nonprofit we were pitching to worked with underserved high school students in low-income neighborhoods. Most proposals in past years had focused on brand visibility, social media impressions, and press coverage. I started thinking about the students instead. What did they need? I drove to one of the schools partnered with the nonprofit. I didn't have to. No one told me to, but I wanted to understand. I asked if I could volunteer for a day. The principal, surprised but welcoming, let me sit in on classes. I met students who worked part-time jobs to help their families. Kids who had big dreams but little guidance. Teenagers who smiled through heavy burdens. During lunch, I sat with a sophomore named Lewis. He told me he wanted to be an engineer but didn't know anyone in his life who had gone to college. "No one ever explains how to get there," he said quietly. That sentence stayed with me. On my way home, I didn't think about metrics or budgets. I thought about Lewis. My proposal wasn't just a marketing campaign. It was a mentorship program. Our company employees would volunteer to mentor students monthly, helping with college applications, career advice, and life skills. We would offer workshops, resume help, and even host office tours. Yes, it would build our brand. But more importantly, it would build people. The day of the presentations arrived. The conference room was packed. Executives sat at the long, polished table. The rest of us lined the walls. Denise went first. Her presentation was flawless. Polished slides, data-driven projections, a multi-platform strategy that had the room nodding in approval. When she finished, there was applause. Then it was my turn. My hands were shaking, but I remembered Lewis. I didn't start with numbers. I started with a story. I told them about a sophomore who wanted to be an engineer but didn't know how to get there. I talked about students who didn't need another hashtag, they needed someone to believe in them. I explained how mentorship would create lasting impact, not just temporary buzz. I shared how our employees could change lives simply by giving a few hours a month. When I finished, the room was quiet, not awkward quiet, thoughtful quiet. The CEO leaned forward. "Why did you visit the school?" he asked. "Because kindness shouldn't be theoretical," I said. "If we're going to serve a community, we should know it." The results were announced the following week. I won. I couldn't believe it when they called my name. My heart pounded so loudly I barely heard the applause. After the meeting, as people congratulated me, I saw Denise standing by the coffee machine. For a moment, I considered avoiding her, but something told me to walk over. She looked at me, not smiling this time. "Congratulations," she said. "Thank you," I replied. There was a pause. Then I added, "Your presentation was incredible." She sighed softly. "I underestimated you." I shrugged. I've underestimated myself before. She studied me for a second, then surprised me. "You visited the school, didn't you?" "Yes." She nodded. "I didn't. I thought strategy was enough." That's when I said something that changed everything. "Would you want to help me lead it?" Her eyebrows shot up. "You want me on your team?" "I can't do this alone," I said. "You have experience I don't. The students deserve the best of both of us." She stared at me, and for the first time I saw something different in her expression. Not competition, not pride, something softer. "All right," she said quietly. "Let's do it." Over the next year, we worked side by side. Denise handled corporate partnerships and logistics. I coordinated volunteers and built relationships with the schools. Together, we launched the mentorship program. Employees signed up in droves. They spent evenings helping students with essays, explaining financial aid forms, and practicing interview skills. Lewis was paired with a senior engineer from our tech department. They met twice a month. The engineer showed him what coding really looked like, helped him research scholarships, encouraged him when he doubted himself. By the end of the school year, Lewis had been accepted into 3 colleges. At our company's annual meeting, the nonprofit presented a short video about the program's impact. Students spoke about how having a mentor changed their confidence. When Lewis appeared on the screen and said, "For the first time, I feel like someone sees me," I had to wipe away tears. Denise was sitting next to me. She leaned over and whispered, "You were right." "About what?" I asked. "That being young was your advantage." I shook my head. "No, kindness was." She smiled. A few months later, Denise did something unexpected. During a leadership panel, she told the story of how she once laughed at a younger colleague for competing against her. The audience chuckled. "But I was wrong," she said. "Experience is powerful, but empathy? That's unstoppable." After the panel, several interns approached me. One of them said, "I've been scared to speak up because I'm new, but your story helped." That's when it really hit me. Winning the competition was never the real victory. The real victory was choosing kindness over ego. I could have rubbed my success in Denise's face. I could have treated her the way she treated me that first day. But kindness isn't about proving someone wrong. It's about inviting them to grow with you. Looking back, I'm grateful she laughed. If she hadn't, maybe I wouldn't have felt the fire to dig deeper. Maybe I wouldn't have visited that school. Maybe I wouldn't have met Lewis. Sometimes, the people who doubt you end up pushing you toward your purpose. And sometimes, the greatest advantage isn't youth, or experience, or talent. It's heart. If you're watching this and you've ever been told you're too young, too old, too inexperienced, or too different, don't let that define you. Let it fuel you. But when you succeed, remember this. Don't forget kindness on your way up. Invite others in. Share credit. Build bridges instead of walls. Because in the end, titles fade. Trophies collect dust. But the lives you touch, the people you lift, that's what lasts. Lewis starts his first semester this fall. He sent me an email last week. It ended with one sentence I'll never forget. "One day, I want to mentor someone the way you mentored us." That's the ripple effect of kindness. So the next time someone laughs and says you're too young to compete, smile. And remember, your greatest advantage might just be your willingness to care. Let's be the kind of people who compete with excellence but lead with compassion. Let's choose kindness, and let's pass it on.